Hey everybody, Father Dave, got my girl back there, and just kind of a reflection on the Holy Scripture today, which I know it's not Sunday. Sunday we'll talk about the cross, but so our country on 9/11, we all kind of get reflective and we think about where we were, especially us here in the East. And everyone we kind of tell the story, and it's good to tell the story of where we were when that happened for those who are old enough, you know, um, and how the world changed and the people we lost and all that. And that's not really the focus that I want to give here today. This isn't like a reflection on 9/11 per se, but the gospel, the scriptures. Because as a Catholic priest who wants you to get more out of your faith, I want you to see something. But I go about it my Father Dave roundabout way. So I have one of these little Alexa devices. I talked about this earlier at the parish. I have one of these, like, I guess, I don't know, some spy listening into my life. One of these old-time Alexa devices, and I asked it for the weather to see whether I should put on a sweatshirt when I'm walking crag in the morning when I wake up. I tend to ask it for the weather. Today I said, give me the news update. And it just gives you a bullet, just shouts at you what the events of the day are. And it talked about 9/11, the anniversary of September 11th, and it said how the last, the second tower, the final tower fell. That's what it said. The final tower fell at like 10:20 a.m. And I remember like stopping in my kitchen. I was making my coffee. And I like stopped and looked at the dopey Alexa thing, and I'm like, well, that's not right. Excuse me. What do you mean that's not right? So there was a third tower that fell in New York, Building 7, and it fell 8 hours later. Like, the story didn't end at 10:20. Now, Building 7 has got a lot of strange things about it. Let's just say that. You ever find a video online about it? It's Building 7 for those that don't know, because it's not often talked about. Apparently, Alexa doesn't know about it, but Alexa never went to grade school. She didn't go to high school. She doesn't have a diploma or GED or anything, so she's a dope. But Building 7 was a building that was hit with debris that came out of the towers, September 11th attacks, and the debris hit that building, and that building would collapse 8 hours later at nighttime, in the 5 o'clock hour, I believe. Well, there's some strange things that went on with that building. If you find video, you'll see it collapses completely within its footprint, and that's kind of strange. It looks like a building that was demolished and intentionally brought down. I'm not saying that it was. The news reported that building fell before it actually fell, like the BBC and Fox News. I don't watch either of them, no offense to those who do, but they reported that building 7 has collapsed, and it's sitting right on TV behind them, right? Like, so that's kind of strange. It wouldn't fall for almost a half hour later. It's odd. And the report for Building 7, because I want to talk about documents, talking about the Bible. But the documents for the investigation of Building 7, when were those documents finalized? When was the final report issued on Building 7? It was only 2 years ago. We were doing this online mass, and they still hadn't concluded their investigation. It was in 2023 that they finalized their investigation of Building 7 and put out the official report from the government, the NTS. And why did it take so long? Well, part of why it took so long is they didn't have access to any of the steel from that building. They didn't have a single pound of steel from that building. All the debris, particularly all the steel, was sent overseas and recycled. And people will say that's suspicious. People will say that was necessary. I'm not going to say anything about that because I don't know. I don't investigate steel. I know God says thou shalt not steal. However, when I went through the report, and like, Father Dave, you read the report about that building? Yeah, I did actually, because it's surprising to me how many people don't even know that building fell. And yeah, that building had the CIA office, had a CIA office in there, and Homeland Security, Department of Defense. And so people want to say that's odd. I don't know about that. But the actual report says something interesting in there. There's a line in there that says, literally, Building 7 and all documents within it have been completely destroyed. And to me, that's an odd thing. When I read that, it caused a bubble up inside of me. And I returned to it this morning when I heard Alexa say this dopey thing. And I looked briefly, and there it is again. It's official line that Building 7 and all documents within it have been completely destroyed. Okay, Father Dave, what's the problem? Well, if you're investigating a car crash, you're going to report on the metal, the temperature, the chemical remains of like this car that was hit by a tanker truck, and the tires were melted and the steel, disintegrated. I don't know, like, I'm not a scientific investigator or an structural engineer, but you would talk about that. You wouldn't say in an official investigation of a crash report that the insurance card inside the truck or inside the car that got hit and all the McDonald's wrappings in the wheel well of the passenger seat were destroyed. Like, it's an odd statement to me. It causes me tension mentally. I have a lot of things that cause me mental tension. I'm an odd guy. That's why I'm a priest, maybe. God has spared some poor woman and children to having me be their, husband and dad. So there's that. But that phrase, and I used an AI to search this out because I don't know, but that phrase that the building and all documents within it have been completely destroyed is not found in any other report of any other structural integrity investigation of building collapses or fires ever. It's an odd phrase to put out there. And seeing that phrase causes tension. All right, so for those of you who went to Mass today, and I hope that you did, if not, get on the USCCB website and look up the readings for daily Mass today. Because the readings for daily Mass today, and a lot of people are mourning and praying for this guy named Charlie Kirk. And I have to confess, I don't know who he was. My parishioners are telling me. I prayed for him yesterday. People asked me to pray for him. I prayed a Divine Mercy Chaplet for the man and his family. I'm only learning about him now. I don't know who he is or who he was. So I will learn. And it's the more I'm learning, it sounds really sad. But a lot of people are thinking about him today. And then the children who were shot in a school. People are thinking about violence and the hurt, and it's a scary world. Okay, so that's where I want to go. Because what does the gospel say today? If you look up the daily readings for today, and we didn't plan them. It's not like the church, it's not like in response to 9/11, we have special readings for today. Or in response to what happened out west, there's special readings. No, these are the readings you would get every 2 years on this day in the 23rd Sunday, or week of ordinary time. And what does the first reading say? It says, be compassionate, be loving, be forgiving. And the gospel, what does Jesus say today? He says, if you just love those who love you, what is that to you, right? If someone strikes you on one cheek, Jesus says, turn the other. Meet people who hate you with love and forgiveness, and do good for those who hurt you. And while I'm highlighting this on my back deck with Cragley sleeping out there, this is the hardest teaching of Christianity. This is the hardest teaching of our faith. It's not sexual morals or how we should give money away, or how we have to we'll follow our conscience. This is the hardest teaching. Not going to church every Sunday. It's loving your enemies and doing good to those who hurt you. And this document, the gospel, is the bubbles up today tension inside of me, because when I think of someone, God forbid, someone hurt or killed someone I love, well, what I want to do, if someone does violence to me or someone I care about, I want to meet violence with violence. I want to strike back at those who hurt me, be like, oh, I'm going to get you now. And God, in his document, the gospel, the Bible, literally is telling us today, do not meet violence with violence. St. Francis, what does he say? Where there is hatred, let me sow what? Let me sow love. Well, the tension, you should feel tension. If someone hurts you or someone gossips about you, you want to gossip about them. Someone cut you off in traffic, you will be like, oh yeah, I can cut you off too. And God is saying, no. And the words written down in his document cause tension in me. And the answer to that tension is Jesus, right? When he asks us to love those who hurt us, we say, well, we can't. And that answer is correct. Left to Dave, can't meet violence with love. But I'm not left to myself. I have him. And Jesus, who commands us to love, to forgive, to turn the other cheek, to not perpetuate generations of violence, that can only be done through him, with him, and in him. And that's what we proclaim Jesus Christ. Our answer to the problems of the world, to the terrible tragedies that happened in New York and happened out west and happened in schools and happened in families, our answer is look to Christ. And when I want to hurt those who hurt me, my answer is, Dave, is I have to look to Jesus. All right, Jesus, give me strength. Because you could say as a Christian to someone who harms you, if Jesus wasn't my master, I would destroy you right now. If Jesus did not make me one of his disciples, like we talked about on the weekend, Mr. Miyagi, I would mess you up right now. But because he is my master, because I follow him and he gives me his strength, I'm actually going to help you. I won't help you hurt me or others. God bless them, change me. But I'm going to do good to you and not evil because I follow him. Well, that ain't fair, Father Dave. No, it's not. This is the hardest teaching of the Catholic faith, of Christianity, and we haven't always lived it well, but we're called to. And so when we talk about the Bible being a living word, this is what we mean. This Bible, the words that we have today, you could say just randomly here this day. Well, yes and no. It's a living word, and God is talking into our hurt and our hardship and saying you got to be people who forgive. And we say we can't, and that's correct. But with him we can. So we choose peace. We choose love. And when we have tension bubbling up within us because something doesn't seem right, it seems like something else is going on. When St. Francis says, where there's hatred, let me sow love, the answer is there is something else going on. What's going on in St. Francis is the life of Jesus. And that's what should be going on in us. I'll see you Sunday. God bless you.